But before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you never miss another video, and live up.
Welcome to this episode of Live Up. My guest today is the incredible, really isn't enough to describe, Susanna Ludwig. She is pure perspective and deep questions and brave honesty and love. And Susanna is a many times award-winning documentary producer, healer, and coach. And I think her voice today is one I really need to hear, because Susanna has spent her life managing through the uncertainty and the complications that chronic illness brings. And in a way, I feel like perhaps Susanna's entire life has prepared her to help guide us through this uncharted territory. So Susanna, thank you so much for being you and for being here.
My goodness, it's like my great honor. And after that intro, I realized I don't really have to say anything else. That was just totally beautiful. Thank you so much.
So Susanna, as somebody who has battled chronic illness, I don't know, is battled the right word?
Yeah,
Was managed
sure.
chronic
It's both. It's mostly managed and then at times battled.
Fair. Coming from that, what do you see in this moment that we're all in together?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a real opportunity here, and the opportunity is twofold. One is we have an opportunity right now to really sit with our pain and acknowledge it and be truthful about it. And then after we do that, to then reach for what's next. And there's hope in what's next. And I know right now it's hard to see that, but the flip side of pain is joy. And so right this minute, we are deep in uncertainty and lack of control and questions and fear, a lot of fear, a lot of fear. But if we can kind of keep ourselves feeling every day a little bit stronger, a little bit more hopeful, a little bit more grateful for the things that are going well, when this all passes, which it will pass, it definitely will pass, we will be so much stronger, so much more, we'll have a rigor inside ourselves that we didn't even know was possible, which is really exciting.
I love that sense of resilience that comes from what you're saying, that we will be stronger as a result of this. And I think like your life story demonstrates that so beautifully, because as I remember your story, it was from day one an uncertainty whether or not this body could survive.
Yes.
And every day from that point forward was essentially a miracle, an uncharted territory.
For sure.
And so what skills have you learned for managing that type of uncertainty? Because I think it's the unknown that's so scary for most of us. We don't know. Every day seems to be a whole new rule book.
Right. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is sort of walking the balance of learning how to be present, accepting where you are in the moment and all the things that it means. So for us right now and dealing with Corona, we are having social distancing. It is really hard. That is really true. And being here now, but there's also, while we're stuck at home with our families, with our children, with our parents, with whoever, there is a lot of beauty too. So one skill that I've learned that's really helped me, and it's also sort of an intuitive thing that is my nature, but I've worked on increasing it, is thinking about what are the good things? How do we lean that way versus leaning the other way? Even when we feel bad.
Yeah, and especially when we feel bad, right?
Especially when we feel bad. And maybe reaching for the next emotion up on the emotional scale. So maybe we can't get from despair to joy, but maybe we can get from despair to aggravation, which is a little bit better than despair.
I love that distinction too.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have to go when we're feeling really crappy.
Yeah.
And really scared.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, let me just turn that switch off.
It's okay to say that we feel despair. We can only heal from the despair when we say it. If we walk around pretending like it doesn't exist or pushing it down, it doesn't go away. It's still there. It gets bigger. It gets harder, and it manifests in all kinds of ways that don't serve us. So we have to say it. We have to let it out. And then after we let it out, it actually gets easier.
That's really empowering because it gives us some choice in there.
Absolutely.
And it also acknowledges the importance of embracing this stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, I always feel like we want to like close our eyes, close our ears, shut our nose, like all our senses, like this is not happening.
Right. That's right.
What your experience has taught you is that by saying, okay, this is what's here.
Yeah.
Then we can choose sort of what the next little step is.
That's right. That's right.
And that it's not jumping, and leaping over everything, but it's just slightly turning that dial.
There are a million things that we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to our economy right now. We don't know how many people are going to get sick. We don't know, and it is very scary, but spending a lot of time worrying and in the fear place is not actually serving you. It's not making you feel better. It's not making it go away. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. But so what we know is today, right now, you and I, as we're having this conversation, we're healthy.
I've always been really struck by the fact that of all of the things they've tried to test to increase happiness, the only one they've been able to prove time and time again in like randomized clinical trials is gratitude. And that by just thinking daily of 3 good things, we are more likely to grow our happiness.
Gratitude is for sure a game changer. That's the first thing I use with anybody that I work with off the top. But I am looking forward to when this time passes and we're in a new era post-coronavirus outbreak, there's going to be so much healing that has occurred for our planet and each other and our world. And I'm so looking forward to seeing and living through what that looks like.
Yeah. That is pretty exciting, isn't it?
It really is.
Like, I like to think about how much more we will appreciate our people.
Yeah.
How much we will appreciate human contact.
100%.
How much we will appreciate being able to just like, freedom is so core to Americans that I think this is hard to culturally
completely
face this constriction.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people are not actually doing what they should be doing because they feel very restricted is too small of a word, but like really prisoned by the parameters of social isolation. It's really hard.
Well, I think too, it's a time to feel like everything is happening to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of choosing social isolation, you're being told to socially isolate. And I think that creates a lot of resistance for a lot of us too. And that's natural, right? Yeah. It's very human.
And most people have never experienced anything even remotely like this. So there's the stages of grief that they have to go through, right? They have to go through the feelings of like, I forget the exact order of them, but anger, denial, whatever those 4 steps are. And people kind of don't know what hit them. And so I think what I want to offer is just ways that people in every day can feel a little bit better. They might not be able to get totally to the other side right now, and it might be months before we're totally on the other side. But how can you feel incrementally better today to make your day a better day? Because the truth is, the reality, we're living here. We are. There's nothing else we can do.
Yeah, this is it.
So this is our one moment. And in that one moment, we have a choice about whether to make it a beautiful moment or make it a totally horrible, painful moment.
So what are some of those things?
Well, gratitude is a huge one.
Yep.
Gratitude is a huge one. Movement is an important one, moving our body. Knowing what makes you feel good in your life, like what are the things that bring you joy, whether it's like, I know you like to baking or Is it reading or doing yoga or whatever the thing is that is the thing that listening to music that brings you joy, being aware of those things so you can reach for them. I think I'm really grateful that we actually have social media right now, because I think connecting with other people is so amazing. And the fact that you just told me, I mean, even that we're here doing this on Zoom is a beautiful thing. 5 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this if we were just doing this in person. You would have been like, sorry, I can't do the shoot. But here we are. So taking advantage of that is a huge thing.
This idea that we can really appreciate what is available to us when so much isn't available.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I love that. That's great perspective.
Yeah.
And I think too, there's something you point to in self-awareness
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Like step one, maybe giving ourselves the space to say, what do I really derive joy from?
Right. That's right.
What feels good to me?
And I, when I work with clients, a lot of them don't even know the answer to that because they've never even taken time to think about that question. And so it's almost like a revelation when I ask them that question. They're like, oh my God, joy? What do I like to do?
Mm-hmm. I think that's true for like givers especially, right?
Yeah.
Let me satisfy everyone else's joy first.
That's right. And it's so exciting to get to the bottom of that answer, because then they sort of explore territories in themselves that they didn't even know existed. So much fun.
What does that turn on for them?
I mean, sometimes it does turn on a little bit of loss about what they're not honoring, which is true. But it turns on some possibility that they, and also some brainstorming around, okay, if I now figured out I like these 5 things, how could I make my life more about those things? And what I always try to do as a coach is just help them brainstorm ideas, like make them be the idea generator, because then if they come up with the ideas, they're more likely to actually put them into practice.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah. Cause it is inherently growth oriented, right? To spend moments asking ourselves, well, what brings me joy? It by design, we have to sit with that question as opposed to what am I giving up? What am I losing? I think too, the other thing you're pointing toward that's important is we have to create space for that. It doesn't like otherwise we'll just keep doing what we've always done. And so if we can create a little space to ask those questions and ensure that they fit into the current context, we may discover new answers.
Yes.
This moment is not like any other.
Completely. 100%. I agree.
The other thing you talked about was just feeling a little bit better. What, like, how small can these things be in order to be helpful?
They can be anything. They really can be. Like, if you know that having your coffee a certain way every day, like I have a friend actually who usually in regular times buys a latte every day. She really likes steamed milk in her coffee. She ordered a latte thing from Amazon, like a hot milk frother, so that she can still have coffee her way. So it you know, that's a small thing, but it makes her feel very like her life is sort of a normal life, sort of ish, as much as anybody could feel. So it doesn't have to be some huge big thing. It could be a small thing like that. It could be any kind of small action that just makes you feel like you are tapped into who you are and what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. Right. And those are inherently super personal.
Yeah, completely.
Even though
even more important,
a big one for many of us.
Yeah, totally.
Like coffee or the tea, just so like it's a ritual.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Which I think too is something like I've been really mindful of keeping as many of my normal life rituals intact in an adapted way.
Yeah.
So it's like the things I value around creativity and connection, those to me, I'm like, well, they may take a different form in this setting and in this moment, but it's really important to me to sort of shape them and see what new possibilities emerge.
Completely, which is so fun. Yeah. I don't want to make it seem, I just want to be clear that I am an optimist by nature and I am a problem solver also, but I'm not in any way trying to like take away from how hard people are struggling. I just think there are some solutions.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I think that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
This is where you started. We have to acknowledge that stuff is there.
Yes, absolutely.
And then choose something, that cup of coffee
Yeah.
that we can do to help ourselves through the moment.
Yeah,
So that we're not sitting with only that.
that's true.
So
And
maybe
the other thing that I think is really important, and I use this week for myself even, is figuring out how else can we reach outward to help other people that need something. Like, what do we have to offer, even in this limited time, even if it's not a lot of money or we can't physically be there, what else can we give and bring and do with who we are to help other people? Because when we're reaching outward, we feel better. We just do. And then we're also doing a good deed as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of research that says that people are just more motivated.
Yeah.
They know that there's a social good.
Yes, that's right.
So, Susanna, you are somebody that I think of as really being brave in your life choices.
Thank you.
You've done some disruptive stuff in your life over the years.
Yeah.
To radically alter the things that weren't serving you.
Yeah.
Go after what served you.
Yes.
So this series is called Live Up. I'm curious, from your world, from your life perspective, what it means to you to live up.
I mean, I guess when I think about the times in my life that I've made disruptive choices, they've usually happened because I've become aware on some level that the life I was living, either in my first marriage in one case or in my career in another case, wasn't serving me anymore. And I was aware because I was unhappy and I felt it all the time and I felt the weight of it. And I know myself well enough to know that that I'm on this planet to give and serve. And when I was not feeling inspired to do that, I sort of knew that something was wrong. And so to me, then making a choice to do something different, even though I didn't know, the hardest thing about being disruptive is that you don't know when you're making the disruption what the new life looks like exactly. So you're kind of making a choice based on a wish and a hope without really understanding what the outcome is going to be.
I think it's interesting too that you describe yourself as having been unhappy during those times, because I knew you seemed happy. So like outwardly, right, what we read is not always the whole story.
It's more like that internal voice in your head, you know, like how sometimes you might have an internal voice in your head that's sort of quietly whispering things to you. Mm-hmm. And in both cases of my work changing, and also in my towards the end of my first marriage, I knew I had that little voice that was whispering, and I was just kind of shushing that little voice, like, go away, I hear you, but I'm not paying attention to you. But then what happens if we don't listen to that voice is the voice starts screaming and starts making things happen that if you're paying attention and if you're open, you get to a point where there is no real other option if you want to live a happy, joyous, fulfilled life. If you don't, you could ignore for the rest of your life. Some people make that choice. For me personally, there was no real option by the time I created those disruptions. And there is fear because you don't know when you walk away. In my case, I walked away from a 20-year relationship, what my life would look like after that. I had no idea. I didn't know would I ever meet someone again? Would I date? And even with my work, I recently shifted careers from being a film producer, although I'm still producing somewhat, but mostly shifted from being a producer to being a coach. I had produced my whole career. I have 2 degrees in film production. I didn't know that when I went from one to the other, what my life would look like. Would it work out? Would it be okay? But I knew that the way I was living wasn't working for me anymore.
Yeah, I was reflecting on that the other day, that the things I'm unsure about, but have done anyway, have led to the greatest rewards. And it was like, I wasn't sure I wanted to get married. I wasn't sure I wanted to have children. I wasn't sure I wanted a dog. But at the end of the day, every time I love more,
yes. Oh.
it's
Love that.
It's better. Like life is better, and loving is freaking scary.
Yes.
Right? It's always a leap of faith. We never know what we're going to get,
Totally.
but it
Yeah.
makes life better.
It totally does. And it has to come from initially an idea that there could be more. There could be more. There could be, in my case, a different romantic relationship that could be more fulfilling. There could be a different work path that could light me up in the way that filmmaking used to. There could be, you know, in your case, getting a pet, like bringing new joy to your family that you didn't know could exist, but it did, you know?
What do you know?
And being open to the could, like it could be something, staying open to that. And the truth is that you don't know until you get into it. I mean, when I was newly single, I remember a friend said to me, I remember saying like, I don't know where I'm going to live or how this is going to go or how my son is going to do or all the things. And my friend said, you don't have to know all of it. You just have to know where you are today and how you're going to feel tomorrow. And then tomorrow you'll worry about the day after that and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that. And that was the best advice I ever heard because it's true.
I love that. And it's so true for this moment too.
Completely.
Because what we're talking about is uncertainty.
That's right.
And I don't know. Right. For me, that's been the hardest thing. Like I have a lot of plans all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. For sure. For sure.
And like that is what creates the structure of my life is I'm going this direction and I'm going to do these things and I'm going to check these boxes and I can't do any of that right now.
Yes.
Because I have no idea. Like people are like, let's schedule a time. I'm like, I don't know. Don't know what tomorrow's going to look like.
And that is the harsh reality that we're learning to live with right this minute. Is this is a change that we never ever thought could happen. And at the end of our life, at some point, we're going to die. And hopefully the end is not sooner rather than later. Hopefully it's a long way away. But that's all we know. And the rest, the only thing we know other than that is where we are today.
And making choices that we hope will make us well tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Your friend is very wise.
Yeah.
Her advice. I will carry so much from this conversation with me into my choices today. I think first and foremost, what really clicked for me as being super important to my perception of all of this is that to sit with the discomfort, to accept, acknowledge, be patient with the discomfort, notice when it gets even more uncomfortable, and then make little choices that really isn't about these drastic swings.
And two things I'll say just to you to follow up on that. One is that that sometimes when you're a person like you, I'm similar to you, in when you're busy all the time and then you get still, right? It can be kind of scary for all the reasons that you said.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I think it's okay to acknowledge that it's scary and to say, I feel pretty freaked out right now. Because then once you say it out loud, it's less so.
Right.
And also to then, even on another level, the second level of that is to thank that fear. Because that fear in some way has protected you along the way. And that's why you developed whatever mechanisms we all develop for getting through life.
If I try to recap, it's investing in gratitude. It's spending time with ourselves to notice what brings us joy, what brings us pleasure.
Yep.
What helps us feel a tiny bit better, even.
That's right. Yep.
It's acknowledging the discomfort, the uncertainty, the fear, all of that, accepting it without judgment, embracing it. Perhaps I'm like really like resisting even saying that word, but but noticing it and accepting it for what it is, and making some choices about what comes next in these sort of active ways, which I think too, I think it's important to say like, you know what? Being grateful when you feel really crappy may feel really contrived and fake.
That's right.
And I still believe that there is power in it.
100%. I agree with you.
It doesn't have to feel as real
Yeah.
as the fear.
Yeah. But the gratitude it shifts your brain, and it changes your brain chemistry, and it shifts your thought process away from all the things that are weighing you down to some lightness and some levity, which is good.
Yeah. May we all have more of that.
Yes. Yes.
Because it does feel heavy right
Yeah,
now.
it really
So how do
does.
we lighten that load for ourselves? Thank you, my friend. You make it all very clear.
Oh, I hope
And
so.
you've helped me see the big possibilities in tiny choices.
Good.
So thank you for being you. Thank you
Yay.
for your generosity. Thank you for choosing to use this moment to serve, for embracing it as an opportunity to have your unique impact
Oh,
in the
thank you so
world.
much.
Much love, my friend.
Love you so much,
Living
honey.
up.
Love you.